More destruction and death in Ukraine right there. That was in Sumy. Vladimir Putin continues attacking Ukraine with ballistic missiles and Shahed drones, killing innocent Ukrainians. New photos are emerging of Donald Trump, Steve Witkoff, and Marco Rubio speaking to President Zelensky of Ukraine. Just zoom in on their faces. You can see just how much they truly despise Zelensky and people who are courageous and fight for freedom. Just contrast this photo right here. I mean, zoom in on Trump, zoom in on Witkoff. Witkoff looks like one of like Tony Soprano's goons. I mean, after all, that's really what he is right now as he's speaking to Zelensky in this photo. I mean, contrast that to the red carpet, velvet glove welcome that Donald Trump and his regime gave to Vladimir Putin in Alaska in one of the most humiliating days in American history. Donald Trump is still out in Florida, vacationing on the taxpayer dime today. You see him there golfing and throwing out MAGA hats to people, and of course, rage posting on social media. Donald Trump posting and whining all morning, saying this: "If I got Russia to give up Moscow as part of the deal, the fake news and their partner, the radical left Democrats, would say I made a terrible mistake and a very bad deal. That's why they are fake news. Also, they should talk about the 6 wars, etc. I just stopped," and he puts that in all caps, MAGA. Okay, you didn't just stop 6 wars. You are making that up. You said you would end the war in Ukraine in 24 hours. In fact, you said you would do it as soon as you won the election, within 24 hours of that. You lied. You now say you're being sarcastic and it's all one big joke. This is not a laughing matter. This is a very serious matter. When you went into Alaska, you said the only thing that you would accept is a ceasefire, and that there would be serious ramifications against Russia in the form of sanctions or other things if there was no ceasefire. That was the purported purpose of this meeting, which we all said, no, you were going to coddle Vladimir Putin and you were going to give him what he wanted. There was no ceasefire, and now you are embracing what Vladimir Putin has asked for, and we see it in that photo. You're trying to shove down Ukraine the idea that they have to give up most of eastern Ukraine to Russia, including many areas of Donbass, Zaporizhia, and other areas that are under the control of Ukraine that Vladimir Putin has not been able to take over. You just want to give that to Putin. I saw some analysis which is based on the current trajectory. Even if Trump and the U.S. continue to withhold weaponry to Ukraine, it would take about, I think this came from the UK Defense Ministry, it would take about 5 more years, and it would take about 2 million or so Russian casualties, including potentially up to 1 million deaths in Russia, in order for them to even come close to taking the land that Donald Trump just wants to give away. Now imagine if we were actually doing our responsibility as the United States of America and helping Ukraine and imposing sanctions against Russia and fighting back. Donald Trump then posts the following. More whining this morning. "It's incredible how the fake news violently distorts the truth when it comes to me. There is nothing I can say or do that would lead them to write or report honestly about me. I had a great meeting in Alaska on Biden's stupid war, a war that should never have happened." I want to be clear as well. I showed the stats the other day. The amount of Russian attacks on Ukraine has not just doubled, nearly tripled since Donald Trump has come into office. More and more drone strikes and ballistic strikes, specifically at Kyiv, strikes like I showed you at the beginning of this video. And Donald Trump's been the one showing complete and utter weakness. And at some point, bud, you got to stop blaming the other guy. You're in charge. Behave like a grown-up. Act responsible, and you're the one who promised you would bring peace in 24 hours. You know, one of the instead, what you did do is you rolled out the red carpet for Vladimir Putin. You started clapping for him. You had American soldiers literally go down on their knees in front of Putin's airplane and quite literally kneel in front of him while rolling out a red carpet. It was one of the most embarrassing things that we've seen. So now we know that Zelensky will be going to the United States tomorrow, but he's not going alone. He's going backed by a lot of European countries. European Commission President von der Leyen, French President Emmanuel Macron, Finnish President Alexander Stubb, German Chancellor Friedrich Merz, NATO Secretary General Mark Rutte, Italian Prime Minister Giorgia Meloni, UK Prime Minister Keir Starmer. They're all going with Zelensky. They're not going to let Zelensky show up by himself and deal with Donald Trump. This is a show of force right now by Europe against a Trump regime and a MAGA force that supports Putin, unfortunately. And it's a very sad thing to see that, but it's a strong showing that Europe is going to be there with Zelensky in Washington, D.C. tomorrow. Oh, Donald Trump is now posting Bella, B-E-L-A. Why is he posting that? Nobody knows, but this is what he just posted moments ago. Bella. B-E-L-A. Governor Newsom responded right away to that. Donald Tiny Hands has written his autobiography this morning. Unfortunately, low IQ, he spelled it wrong. Beta. Soon you will be fired, Beta Trump, because of my perfect, beautiful maps. Thank you for your attention to this matter, Governor Newsom. GC, and I love that he's calling him Newsom is calling Donald Trump a beta cuck on social media right now, which is what you have to do. You got to bully the bullies back. Just really quickly, I often get asked, Ben, how do you do your research here on the Midas Touch Network? What research tools do you like to use? Because I know some of you want to use the research tools I do. What news do I read? And how do I know, for example, that the 5-year projections of Russian casualties, and what Donald Trump just wants to give away, and what the casualties, you just have these MAGA sycophants like Andy Ogles posting this, and I can show you other MAGA people who are posting things like this. He goes, give Trump a 3rd term, give him a peace prize, and let him run DC as long as he wants. This was literally a post. This is not This should be parody. This is a post that they made. Also, you had Anna Paulina Luna, MAGA Republican Congresswoman, posting Putin propaganda this morning and saying, look at what Zelensky's doing. He's hiding all of his money. Like just literal disinformation on, like, for Putin. It is so despicable and disgusting to see. Zelensky wrote this morning, I had an opportunity to meet with the president of the European Commission, von der Leyen, Commissioner President von der Leyen, in Brussels. Significant support for Ukraine in the context of the upcoming meeting with Donald Trump. We agreed on the necessity of a ceasefire for subsequent diplomatic steps, effective security guarantees for Ukraine, and continued sanctions pressure on Russia to limit its future potential. I thank Ursula von der Leyen personally and the whole Europe that supports us and our quest to end the war. And then Zelensky also talks about the importance of everybody, all of Europe, supports the key issues must be resolved with Ukraine's participation in a trilateral format. Ukraine, US, and Russia, they're together. That's what needs to happen. And Zelensky says, I'm ready for a ceasefire. I'm ready to show up. I'm ready to look Putin in the eyes. What's the matter, Donald? You can't handle that? What's the matter? So this morning you had Marco Rubio, Secretary of State. Their spin right now is that Donald Trump never promised there would be any type of deal to come out of Alaska. That's how the Trump regime is spinning it. Here's what Rubio said. Here, play this clip.
Why did President Trump's meeting with Putin end with no ceasefire? And what does Putin want?
Well, yeah, well, a couple things. First of all, if you recall, there's no way you can have a meeting like that. And we never said there was going to be a deal coming out of the meeting because the Ukrainians are not there. This is a war between two countries. It's not America. It's Ukraine and Russia. We met with the Russian side. We've spoken repeatedly with the Ukrainian side. We'll see them again tomorrow in person along with our allies in Europe. So I do think some progress was made in that talk.
And then here, Marco Rubio says that Russia really needs to get something as part of a peace deal. But he doesn't explain any concessions at all that have come from Russia. Russia invaded, stole Ukrainian land, now wants more land that it has not been able to take over. But according to Marco Rubio, he says Russia needs more. You have to give him more. Here, play this clip.
Vladimir Putin did not give President Trump the ceasefire he sought, and now Putin says the root causes of the conflict have to be resolved in a peace agreement. Isn't the root cause the fact that Russia invaded in the first place?
Well, ultimately, yeah. But I mean, what he means by root causes is this long historical complaints that we've heard repeatedly. This is not a new argument. He's been making this for a long time. And it's the argument that it's Western encroachment. I don't want to get into it. It's just so long. But the bottom line is that we're not going to focus on all of that stuff. We're going to focus on this. Are they going to stop fighting or not? And what it's going to take to stop the fighting. And what it's going to take to stop the fighting, if we're being honest and serious here, is both sides are going to have to give and both sides should expect to get something from this. And that's a very difficult thing to do. It's very difficult because Ukraine obviously feels, harmed, and rightfully so, because they were invaded. And the Russian side because they feel like they've got momentum in the battlefield and frankly don't care. Don't seem to care very much about how many Russian soldiers die in this endeavor. They just churn through it. So I think what the president deserves a lot of credit for is the amount of time and energy that his administration is placing on reaching a peace agreement for a war that's not a war that started under him. It's half, it's on the other side of the world. That said, I mean, it's relevant to us, but there are a lot of other issues he can be focused on. So tomorrow we'll be meeting with President Zelensky. We'll be meeting with European leaders. We just met with Putin. He's dedicated a lot of time and energy because he has made it a priority of his administration to stop or end war, stop wars or prevent them. And right now, this is the biggest war going on in the world. It's the biggest war in Europe since World War II. We're going to continue to do everything we can to reach an agreement that ends the dying and the killing and the suffering that's going on right now.
Well, I mean, this.
On the other hand, you have Democratic Congressmember Crow from Colorado, veteran, actual soldier, knows what he's talking about. Here's what he had to say about this. Here, play this clip.
But compare that to what this administration has done, which has relieved almost all pressure. Like, look at what happened on Friday. U.S. military personnel in uniform literally were on their hands and knees rolling out a red carpet for the most murderous dictator of the 21st century. Somebody who is kidnapped and is holding prisoner tens of thousands of Ukrainian children. Somebody who started this whole war. Right? This both sidesism that the administration is engaging in, that both sides need to come to the table and negotiate. Ukraine is the victim. They are the victim. They didn't start this war. Russia did. And somehow we keep on acting like Vladimir Putin deserves to be brought out into the open like any other head of state. Yeah. This is a historic embarrassment and defeat for U.S. foreign policy.
And here's what former President Biden's national security advisor, Jake Sullivan, had to say about everything. Here, play this clip.
One of the things he says is that Putin was already on the world stage. You chose never, President Biden rather, you chose never to meet with Vladimir Putin. Why not?
Look, we had many different contacts with the Russians over 2.5 years, and we concluded, based on those contacts, that Russia was not in a position to come to the table in a serious way to end this war. And so we didn't want to set up a summit where we were literally rolling out the red carpet for Putin in America to have him come and walk away and continue the war without any clear and convincing outcome of the summit. So we didn't think that was possible. And having just watched Alaska, I think our judgment on that was correct. Now, does that mean there shouldn't be diplomacy with Russia? Of course not. There should be. Does it mean that a summit should never take place? A summit would be fine, but it's got to be properly prepared to produce an outcome that the American president can articulate in advance and produce in the aftermath. The outcome that this American president articulated, a ceasefire or consequences, he did not produce. And that is why I think we find ourselves in a difficult situation today. But Martha, this isn't over. There will be a meeting with Zelensky and European leaders, and then we'll see what happens after that. My hope is that President Trump will see, in hindsight, that President Putin is just trying to take us all for a ride, to keep this war going, keep attacking Ukraine without facing additional pressure. And we've got to cut him off at the pass.
And while all of that's going on, I don't want to forget. Also, Epstein. Donald Trump is still trying to cover up the Epstein files. We're going to do a lot more videos on that. I'm sure you've seen over the past 48 hours. We still do lots of Epstein videos, so we'll make sure we continue to cover that. And then I want to show you this right here. This guy, Ed Martin, who Donald Trump basically has attacking all of his political opponents. Ed Martin went on TV today on Fox and said that he's going after New York Attorney General Letitia James and Adam Schiff. He goes, because they're liars. And when you lie and you cheat, you don't just lie and cheat about one thing, you lie and cheat on a lot of things. Dude, we know that you're just referring to Donald Trump, like the ultimate projection that this just oozes with projection and confession. But this is what these MAGAs are talking about. Here, play this clip.
Doing at DOJ, and all we're doing across the government is saying, get the truth out, and then, by the way, let's hold people accountable, and that's exactly what's going on. So when Bill Pulte sends a criminal referral over to us, and he says Letitia James and Adam Schiff, and by the way, both their lawyers have come out and talked publicly about that criminal referral, so you can talk to them about the specifics, because I'm going to tell you what we're going to do is we're going to follow the facts. Every American that has a mortgage or has other documents they sign has to follow the law. We're going to go to the very bottom of the facts, and if somebody did something wrong, we're not only going to hold them accountable, we're also going to look at everything else that they've been doing, because when you're a liar, you lie not just on one thing. When you're a cheater, you cheat not just on one thing. When you're doing corruption, you generally don't just do it on one thing. So that's our what we're asked to do as prosecutors, and that's what we're doing.